át nhạc vào phải để vòng lặp này, nó sẽ chạy đi chạy lại chứ không phải sau anh bật nó không có nhạc đâu. Nhắc nhạc này có chọn hai.
Nhiều dưới cái mic tắt thôi. Tôi tắt mic tắt. Nighttime has fallen here in the desert as we welcome you to the NBA 2K26 Summer League from the Thomas & Mack Center. A lot of hoop dreams coming to fruition here in
Thanks, Mark. Caleb, you just signed a two-way deal with Portland. How did it feel to get that deal done?
It was a blessing, man. I'm grateful for the Blazers taking a chance on me, and, I'm just going to make the best of my opportunity.
What do you have to prove tonight? What's your mindset coming into your debut?
I just think, play the game how I play the game. I've been playing this game for, all my life, and so I just want to show that I'm able to come out here and, hoop with the big dogs.
What kind of player is Portland getting out of you?
They're getting an all-around player, a two-way player that's going to, be a dog on the defensive end and then, get to it on the offensive end as well. So, I think they're getting a two-way player for sure.
Thanks, Caleb. Best of luck tonight.
I'll tip off just a few moments away, and Mark Jones courtside along with Tim Legler. Last year was Donovan Clingan. This year, Yang Hansen, member of the Chinese national team, a 7-footer with an abundance of talent that we get a chance to see tonight.
Tremendously skilled. I think what's going to stand out right away is his footwork and agility for a guy that size. He's very, very comfortable bringing the ball up the floor. Very good passer from anywhere at the top of the key or the high post. Pretty good around the rim as well, and more athletic than you would think. Very creative offensive player. But I think the thing that stands out more than anything is how comfortable he is handling the ball in the open floor as a playmaker. You're going to see definitely a lot of that tonight. This is the 16th pick, and I'm really excited to see what he's got tonight.
Just 20 years old, Tim, played in the Chinese basketball.
Really excited to see what he's got tonight.
Just 20 years old, Tim, played in the Chinese Basketball Association this past season. Averaged a little over 16 points a game. And meanwhile, for the Golden State Warriors, Will Richard is a guy that has really created a lot of buzz early this summer with them in some of their practices and at the California Classic, and we get a chance to see some of his skill set tonight.
No doubt. I think he got the first taste of it out in California before he came to Vegas, and that's always a nice prelude before you come here. You get onto a little bit of a heater, and it can carry over to Vegas when so many more eyes are on you. A lot of scrutiny. Will Richard is a guy I've definitely got my eyes on tonight because he's coming into this with a lot of rhythm and confidence.
Golden State Warriors a season ago went 48-34. Lost in the second round of the playoffs, 7th in the Western Conference. And Will Richard, a guy that, like many people out here, hoping to, if not get a roster spot, impress somebody else here who might pick them up. But certainly the Golden State Warriors, a team that in free agency haven't done a lot. It's been relatively quiet while everyone awaits that shoe to drop, and that one shoe, Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, you're wondering how it's gonna play out there. You've heard basically every imaginable rumor associated with Jonathan Kuminga, such a talented, still very young player who's been at Golden State for quite a while now, and it still feels like maybe he's auditioning. So that is the big shoe to drop. You're right.
We're going to take a short break. It'll be Yang Hansen making his NBA debut. First-round pick of the Portland Trail Blazers, with an entire nation watching across the ocean. got to keep an eye on right there. Will Richard, we talked about him a moment ago for the Golden State Warriors. Out of Florida, the 56th pick in the draft. Second rounder from Phoenix, and then subsequently moved to Golden State on draft night. Averaged 13.3 points a game for the national champs. Henson and Bolden at the circle, and here's Rupert off the opening tip. Able glove puts it out top to City Sissoko, who spent a bunch of time with the San Antonio Spurs. Actually was part of their rotation for a little bit. Nice backup, and Sissoko sent it with his chest to start the game.
A great finish, but right off the bat, you see Yang's awareness and his ability to catch that basketball in the middle of the floor and make the right read. That's a really well-delivered back cut, perfectly timed.
Nice play call by Summer League head coach Lonnie Burrell. Alex Tui cross court, one more to Bolden. Dials up the three, a little bit strong, and rebounded by Bouknight. Bouknight was a high draft pick from the Charlotte Hornets a couple of seasons ago. Here's Love. Yang Hansen out top. Rupert got downhill and draws the foul on the play on Will Richard. And that'll put him at the free throw line. One more look at that nice delivery.
Yeah, this is beautiful. This is what stands out, right? You watch him, you look at him on film. He absolutely has an understanding, particularly in the middle of the floor, of how to direct, as you've seen him do now a couple of possessions where he's directing traffic up there and understands exactly where the defense is going to be and anticipates where those cutters are going to be.
Yang Hansen made the Chinese national team and made his debut in the 2025 Asian Cup qualifier as Rupert knocked down the free throw. Portland Trailblazers last season finished up 36 and 46. 12th in the very competitive Western Conference. And there's a look at the numbers on Rupert. Just 21 years old.
Big numbers in the G League last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he averaged almost 19 points a game in the G League.
And I love to see this full court pressure almost get a 5 count. Armstrong brings it up court for the Warriors. Here's Rowe trying to turn the corner, got peeled clean, and Rupert in transition raises up and puts it home. Portland out to a quick 6-0 lead. Tui, little sidestep, missed the layup. Blazers out and running again. Bouknight, one more to the Caleb Love from the corner, and a quick three, and a quick 9-0 lead for Portland.
And Caleb Love, a big-time college guard, and you can just see it right off the bat. And he's out here. Talk to him before the game, like he understands the importance of this and making that great first impression with Portland.
Will Richard, meanwhile, at the other end with the 3 ball for the Warriors. Make it a 2. It was a long 2. Love behind the Yang Hansen screen. Good hands by Armstrong to get the turnover. With the left hand, got blocked by Bouknight. And now Blazers with the 3-on-1. Love around the world. Book with the finish. Bouknight, erstwhile of UConn.
Which part of that did you like the best? The block on one end, the behind the back pass, or that incredibly creative left-handed finish?
There was a lot to like, Legs. I'll take all 3. Tui with the crossover. That's going to be a foul on Sissoko. Tui will go to the free throw line. Let's take one more look at that nice sequence a moment ago.
I mean, this is end-to-end. Right here, Bouknight comes in from the weak side to beat that up. Now you get out in the open floor. Caleb Love, nice job taking the ball deep against the one defender backpedaling. You force him to commit. That way the delivery is that much harder to defend. Very few guys are going to have that kind of reaction time.
Taron Armstrong was born in Australia. Burnie, Australia. Played 2 years at Cal Baptist. Averaged about 11 points per game. A lot of great players coming out of Australia these days. And contrary to popular belief, they don't all end up at St. Mary's playing for Randy Bennett anymore. They're
not all
across
about 80%. Every now and then, one slips through the cracks.
Around the ball screen, Rupert downhill, left it short. Might have been partially blocked. And here come the Warriors, down by 9. Underneath, short little jumper. Man, Armstrong overcooked that. Pardon me, that was Tui. Sissoko on the break. Another impressive finish by Sidi Sissoko. He's got 4. And we got a timeout.
Sissoko, power forward in the open floor, saying, hey, it's not just a guards game in Vegas.
NBA 2K26 Summer League is proudly sponsored by NBA 2K26.
Portland out of the gate quickly. Ronnie Burrell, the Summer League head coach. Attended college at UNC Greensboro, assistant coach for the Blazers. Previously with the Brooklyn Nets before that. Isaiah Mobley, man, he lost Henson, but left that 3-ball short. Made a great move. Everything but the finish. The brother of Evan Mobley. Spent a little time with the Cavaliers organization as well. And off the turnover, it'll come back the other way. Portland with a couple of substitutions during the break. Petula coming into the ball game out of Mississippi, undrafted this past year. Henson out top. Nice cut by Carter and the layup. The big man with another delivery lane.
I'm going to have some fun watching him pass the basketball this year in Portland. I mean, he just totally understands the flow of the defense and leverage. Perfect delivery on that cut. And you could just see his eyes scanning the floor up top, even when he's being pressured.
Not afraid of putting the ball in his hands. And
not at all. I mean, that is a creative delivery, a wraparound right-handed pass in traffic. I mean, that's a really tight window back there with 3 defenders.
And look at the round of applause. He gets a standing ovation from the Blazers contingent behind the bench. Off the pin down. Mobley underneath. Got a whistle, he stepped out of bounds. Kapinski coming into the ball game. Breaks the press. Here's Carton. Made his last one. That one rattles out. And Mobley with a long outlet. Warriors out and running, but Portland Black nicely defensively in transition. Armstrong. Little floater draws the foul. Taron Armstrong will go to the free throw line. Last year he played 11 games for the Santa Cruz Warriors, averaging about 12 points per game to go along with 8 assists. Averaged 6 a game in the California Classic and a couple of runs for him. Got a couple of Australians on the Summer League roster as he knocks down the first 8. Summer League action continues tomorrow on NBA TV, ESPN, and the ESPN app. On NBA TV tomorrow, Cleveland against Milwaukee at 3:30, Indiana against OKC at 5:30. Sacramento Kings, who won their opener, taking on Chicago at 8, and then Minnesota-Denver at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Nick Clifford had a good opener for the Sacramento Kings last night. They won a close one against Orlando. Love to see the moves that Scott Perry, the new general manager, has made and continues to make for Sacramento. Here's Shackelford. Back to Mobley, 10 on the shot clock. Drives it into the paint, got blocked by Skapincev. Stay at this end, Warriors basketball.
Nice job by Skapincev that time. Mobley really had him beat. It looked like he was going to be able to extend and get down to the rim. Skapincev back on his heels, but with that length was able to just continue to stay with it, get a piece of that to prevent the layup.
Shackelford comes off out of bounds. It'll come back the other way this time. Portland up 14-5. We're talking about some of the turnover they've had with the Blazers, but one of the young bright lights still there. Shaedon Sharpe really asserted himself as a dynamic scorer a season ago.
Yeah, he went from a guy that was going to be on a nightly SportsCenter reel, right, for one of his high-flying plays at the rim, to a guy that can really get it done in a lot of ways as a scorer and a pretty committed defender as well. So he is really the bright future in Portland and what he can become and what his ceiling is.
Whistling a foul. It's going to go against the Blazers. He'll be sidelined out of bounds. A foul against Carton, his first personal foul.
Well, I think Golden State made up for their lack of, summer movement with their main roster by having the most extensive summer league roster I think we've seen in a long time. I ran out of ink twice getting all these names down.
Mobley off the mark with the 3, and they are stuck on 4 right now. Caleb Love runs down the loose ball, says, why not me? Rebound by the Warriors, off and running. Shackelford from the corner comes off again. Warriors out running Love with the lefty leg.
He's smooth. I feel like every time I saw Caleb Love in college, he showed out.
Pac-12 Player of the Year in 2024. And Census All-American as well. Here's Carton with the heads at cross court. 3 ball is off the mark. And we're going to have a foul underneath. It's going to stay at this end. They'll go against Isaiah Mobley. He'll be sidelined out of bounds. Rowe comes out of the ball game, and Alex Tui comes into the ball game. Tui's another interesting story. He played for Andrew Bogut's squad in the Australian Professional League. Bogut, of course, the former Golden State Warrior. Comes off to Manning.
Carr misses another shot. What an interesting journey Andrew Carr had in college, starting out at Delaware and then a couple years at Wake Forest, and finishes at Kentucky, where he played pretty well for the Wildcats a year ago. Good length and a guy that can really shoot the basketball.
Bouknight will bring it up for the Blazers. Off the wide action, Love. Love on the bounce. Snakes the screen. Boy, great play by Caleb Love. He's got 7 in the ballgame.
Yeah, you can see he can play at multiple speeds, and that's one of the toughest things for guards to learn coming into the league. You can't play the same speed all the time, and you can see Caleb Love changing gears, and as a result, you keep the defense off balance.
And Caleb Love, like we've seen it, and we've talked about it now a lot. Another one of those older first-year players coming into the NBA. 23 years old, plug and play, ready to go almost immediately. We got a timeout with 2:49 to go in the first quarter. Back after this. Level, Tim.
It definitely does. I mean, he's just ready, and he's played in a lot of big games in his career, so you know he's not going to be fazed by this environment. But I think the word I used for him was just mature, and you hinted on it. Like, this is a guy that's been around, so a lot of experience under his belt, a lot of confidence, and carries himself that way. Swagger to his game.
Here's Bouknight out top. Rupert got blocked but drew the foul. So Rupert will go to the free throw line. Yeah, I was told by my friends with media relations I could go full French on Rupert's pronunciation.
If you do, you're going to be.
Je parle un petit peu français.
You're now officially calling his name by yourself.
Yeah, j'étudie français pour 8 ans dans l'école.
Oui, oui. Yeah, I don't know, that's all I got. And I played 3 years in, three months in Limoges.
And how much French did you learn?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
I thought I knew you better than that.
I did learn how to say "give me the rock," but I forgot how to say it.
Donnez-moi le ball. Rupert at the free throw line.
And he's been impressive here early.
Yeah, he has.
He's just very aggressive and great straight ahead speed. It seems like if he gets any sort of gap at all, he's going to put his head down and drive it aggressively at the defense.
Yeah. He was drafted along with Wemby and Koulibaly and Sissoko back in 2023. A lot of those talented players coming out of France right now. He's up to 6 for the ball game. On the keep action, Shackelford gave it to the guy in the wrong uniform. Love missed the layup. Golden State Warriors stuck on 4. Hinson still a lid on the bucket. Good block by Yang Hansen. Bouknight on the drive, dishes. Rupert draws the foul, and 2 more free throws coming up for him.
And we've seen it now throughout the entirety of the first game, and here you see it again here. Young with the block at the rim, and the way that could just trigger your break. Because you can see there's Golden State jerseys around the rim. You think you're going to get 2, and immediately, because of the block and the way it ricochets off the backboard, you've got numbers in the open floor that leads to something good for Rupert.
Rupert's sister, Ileana, actually played a couple of seasons in the WNBA. As he knocks down the first free throw.
One thing you notice right off the bat about Young as well is he's got some beef to him.
Yes.
He's got a good, strong face.
Watched him play for the Chinese national team a season ago as a 19-year-old in the California Classic up in Sacramento, and he was extremely impressive. He was very comfortable. Shackelford going to try another one. This one finally falls. Under 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Golden State with 7 points. That corner three, good by Tyson. And it's 26-7.
Portland just creating so much pace right now. A lot of energy defensively, and even after that made basket, they're able to get up the floor and get numbers. Here again, pushing it right down the middle.
Bouknight probes. Loses the handle in the corner. Henson spins twice and got picked. Blazers back in transition. Strong follow. The second tick doesn't go. Another opportunity underneath. Foul and one. Bernard will go to the free throw line and try and complete the three-point play.
Nice job with the up fake to get the contact and then stay with it. You know, once you get him in the air right there, you've got to now extend that ball all the way out as far as you can with your left hand to get it over the reach of Young. You saw Young offensively go to that spin move. He loves that move, and it's very effective because he's, for the most part, pretty tight on that spin. It's pretty quick, but the hands that time, the activity level were better than the move, and he leads to a turnover.
After the free throw, it's 26-10. 1 minute to go. Bouknight on the bounce. Tyson for three. That's 2 of them now that he's made. That one was deep, logo worthy. Henson lost it. They turned him over again. Repair fouled out at midcourt. Inside out of bounds. As Armstrong comes back into the ball game to run the point for the Warriors.
And it's our 4th game now together over 2 days. I think this is the fastest team that I've seen out here end to end with what Portland is doing here in the first quarter. I mean, everybody that gets it has straight ahead speed, and that's the kind of pace that they clearly are trying to play with, and they've created a summer league team that's going to fit that.
Great point. Repair from beyond the arc. Got a fortuitous roll. And Repair with 11 points already. The uphill DHO, Richard. Cross-court, great ball movement. But they couldn't cash out. Henson missed the three. Bouknight in a rush, draws the hit. And 2 more foul shots. Man, they are really getting a lot of rim pressure today.
Man, you talking about they get that defensive rebound with 16 seconds, and there was no thought whatsoever on, you know, one shot to end the quarter. And that was really 3-4 Warriors were back defensively, and it didn't matter. Bouknight still understanding this is the way that they're going to force the pace the entire time. If it's not there, you always have the secondary break if you want it. But this has been an all-out assault in the open floor that Portland has put on Golden State.
To the tune of 33-10 so far. James Bouknight was waived by Charlotte last February. Joined the Rip City Remix in October of 2024. Former lottery pick, number 11 overall. Boy, that ball was in the air a long time. Love couldn't get there in time, though. 4 on the shot clock and game clock. Armstrong got it. Maybe that'll give them a little momentum, Tim, going into the second quarter.
And that was created off their own push.
Love in the backboard, unafraid to shoot it though.
That's right. That's a team shot now. Understand that. Doesn't go in your box score.
Won't hurt
individually.
Stats.
That's right. Get them up.
Counting. But look at the diming going on by young Henson. And the big time finish.
far.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
It's interesting, Tim, we were talking about during the break, Sissoko's been in the league a couple of years. He's 21 years old out of France. Meanwhile, Caleb Love is a rookie. He's 23.
You talked about it. That experience, look, some guys, it's necessary. Right. I think for Caleb Love, it obviously was. Stellar career. Able to do big things in college. And Portland clearly sees something in him. And tell you what, you go to a place with a head coach that played combo guard in this league as long as Chauncey Billups did, right? You know he's looking for those kind of guards that have certain qualities that he identifies with.
Rupert with 13 points, including 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Nice cut on the baseline and a little bit of jelly. And finished that time by Blake Hinson out of Pittsburgh. Good defense at the other end by the Warriors. Here's Armstrong. One more to the corner. Mobley. And blocked, but fouled by young Hansen. Hansen in a little bit of a polite disbelief.
That's about his. That's him protesting the call, just sort of rubbing his palms together because he's thinking Mobley really has nowhere to go right there. He lost the ball on the catch in the corner. He thought about shooting a 3 and then had to drive it in to Young, who was waiting under the rim, and he really had nowhere to go behind the backboard. I think that's what Young was thinking, like this is kind of a bailout call because what was this attempt about to be?
Mobley at the free throw line, knocks down the second. 2 points in the ball game for him, and Golden State still with a daunting hill to climb. Book night out top. Hansen on the drive and lays it in with the offhand.
And you saw right there, I talked about his base and like his shoulders and his strength, because he took a pretty good shot there from Mobley and it didn't really knock him off stride at all. So he was able to take one more dribble and finish with an easy layup.
Meanwhile, bucket at the other end by the Warriors makes it 38-19. Hansen out top. Good closeout by Mobley. 7 on the shot clock. Repair already in double-digit scoring at 3 caroms off, and the Warriors out and running. Tough shot underneath and bucket. Boy, that's a classy finish by Jackson Rowe out of Cal State Fullerton, and a timeout. So that late 3, Tim, at the end of the first quarter carries over momentum-wise. They've whittled it down to 17 for what it's worth. Back everyone to the NBA 2K26 Summer League here in Las Vegas, joined by Chauncey Billups now at our Des, Chauncey, thanks a lot for joining us, man. And
of course, man.
Congratulations on a strong, nice, impressive run to end the season. Moving forward, one of the guys that's getting a lot of eyeballs right now is the man with the ball, Young Hansen. Tell us where he fits moving forward in the big picture, where you guys are going.
Well, I mean, obviously we have a really young team, with the exception of a few vets. But I think Hansen fits in very perfectly with our team. We got a lot of we want to play up and down, get up and down. He's a really good passer, very competitive, great touch around the basket. I think in time he has the touch to be a really good three-point shooter as well, you know, as he continues to build his game out. But really soft touch, you know, he's going to fit perfectly with us. We're very, very happy to get him.
Before I ask you my first question about your team, I got to ask you this. Did you hate doing TV with me that much? I mean, you was only like a year together, and then next thing you know, you're coaching. I forced you into coaching? Is that what happened?
Nah, bro. You were so good to me, man. You made my job very easy. I always appreciate what you did for me, Legs.
Hey, all right, let's get into your team, man. You really had a strong finish to the year, and some of that young talent started to blossom. I want to start with Shaedon Sharpe and what he's starting to turn himself into, because early on it was the SportsCenter highlight reel, but now it's much more than that. Talk about his development.
Yeah, it really is, and I thought this year, you know, once he can continue to focus on, one, just kind of playing with his teammates, but also defensively, you know, taking a challenge defensively every single night, knowing that he scores the ball pretty easy, you know. So if you want to play a lot of minutes for the head coach that he's playing for, he's going to have to play defense. And when he realized that, you know, his season got better.
Tell us about Caleb Love, a guy that's gotten off to a pretty good start here tonight. And he comes in, Chauncey, as a little bit of an older prospect at 23 years old.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, obviously, you know, when you get guys that age coming into the league, they've been through a ton. I love guys that have a chip on their shoulder, that have been through a lot, you know, and he's eager. He's eager to learn. You know, he's going to be in an incredible situation this year, being able to learn from Drew Holiday and even our young guys, you know, who they're younger than him, Shaedon and Scoot, but they have more NBA experience than him, so he'll be able to learn a lot from them as well.
Let me follow up on that with Drew Holiday. So obviously Anthony Simons, very talented, explosive, dynamic, offensive player. He's no longer there, and now you go with Drew Holiday. Talk a little bit about the mindset behind that and what he's going to bring to you guys.
Yeah, I'm just so happy, you know, to have Drew, and I had such an incredible time coaching Anthony, and I felt like, you know, from the time I've been there, Anthony has really grown to be a really good player. I'm happy for him and his opportunity, but to be able to get a guy like Drew, what better guy in the league could you have to raise Scoot and Shaedon, you know, than Drew Holiday, two-time champion, Hall of Famer, you know, going to be a Hall of Famer in my opinion. But he can still hoop. He's not coming there to just be assistant coach. Like, he can still ball. He can still hoop. So he's going to have that opportunity to do so.
I spoke with Scoot Henderson for a minute a couple of days ago. He's been putting in some great work with Chris Johnson, his trainer out in Los Angeles. What kind of a leap do you expect from him next year?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Scoot's having an incredible summer. He was little. He had a tough year last year, a little only because he didn't get to play basketball last summer. He was banged up. He was licking his wounds from the season. This year he's been playing ball all summer. He's been working on his game, as you said. He is going to take an incredible leap this year.
Okay.
I really, really believe Scoot's going to take a big-time jump this year. And I'm along for the ride, man. We're ready for it.
I thought he was a can't-miss dynamic scorer guard coming out. Got to work on his efficiency. I'm sure he's going to get there. That's really good to hear about him. I want to talk about Denny Abdia. You unlocked something in him because he was a guy that was a high draft pick in Washington, but he took his game to a completely different level once he got to Portland, and he's a guy really that affects the game across multiple platforms.
Yeah, he really does, Legs. I mean, I wanted him to be able to show just all he can do. He didn't get to really show it like he wanted to in Washington, and I said, all right, well, we're going to find out. If you can do all the things that you say you can, I'm going to give you that opportunity to do so. And, man, he just continued to get better and better and better, and I believe there's more levels for him to even get even more efficient and even better. So I was happy to really kind of unlock Denny. I thought he could have been a little better. Like, and we talk about this all the time. Like, I think defensively,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I say, I don't want you to be this guy that your offense goes way, way up, and then you just start forgetting about defense. Because
Right.
offense is so fun. I think he can be a lockdown defender.
Really?
I really do. He's so strong. He got great feet. He's tough as heck, you know. So he'll be better defensively for us this year. But that's a guy that he already took a leap for us, and I love it.
What about big man Donovan in the middle at the 5 for him? He's here tonight. Got to look at him and had a chance to chop it up with him a little bit. What kind of track is his development on right now?
Yeah, DC had a great year, man. You know, being able to be there and obviously come off the bench for Big DA and then Robert Williams there. He had a great mentor in Robert, you know, and still does have that. You know, him getting to understand like how important it is for him to be able to change ends and roll change really fast is a big, big deal for him, you know, and his body is right. He's lost some weight. He's gotten a lot stronger this summer. He's going to be primed for a big campaign.
I think you guys have me as intrigued as just about any team in the West because of the way you finished the year. The young offensive talent you have, but you've got also guys like Tumani Kamara, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. You got Matisse Thybulle. I know how important that is to you. Now you bring in Drew Holiday, so you can actually play different types of lineups now, depending on what you think the situation calls for. Do you need more offense, need more defense?
I love that. I love that. I really do. I mean, we want to pick it up and play a lot faster this year, so that will require sometimes we'll play a little smaller, you know, and to have guys like Jeremy Grant and Tumani and Denny that can play 3, 4, 5, and you know all these fast guards. We'll have the opportunity to change up how we play on different nights. But I'm just so excited about what we're going to be able to do.
We talked about Shaden a little bit earlier. Have you been around him at all this summer? Is he up in Portland? Or is he back in Toronto? Or
oh no, well he's here right now. He's right here.
Got your hands on him?
Watching his guys and working out in the gym with us earlier and playing 5-on-5. He's been very focused.
Blazers up by 10.
I was telling Jonesy, and I don't know if this was by design or what you guys are trying to do when you put your summer league team together, but it looks like a track meet out here. In the first like 14 minutes of the game, that's the fastest we've seen any team changing ends of the floor. Whoever got it just went.
Yeah.
And you're putting relentless pressure on them to start this game. Was that by design? You were kind of looking for that?
That is by design, Legs. I mean, we want to just get up and down and play fast, man, and just have fun. The summer league is always a good time, but I just think you get guys to be so much more engaged if you just get up and then just start flying around, sharing the basketball. You probably have to make more subs, quicker subs, because these guys will get tired. But that is by design for sure. And you know, with just on point right there. I mean, because we haven't played fast, we haven't been able to score.
Thoughts on saw Chris Murray? I always think it's You can never tell. Got to check. Another one of the talented wings you guys have, and how much does he contribute next year? What does it look like for him?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those wings that we have that can really guard. You know, Chris is having a really good summer as well, putting in a lot of time, trying to get his shot together. He struggled a little bit behind the arc last year, but he's addressing that, you know. But he's a guy that defensively, I think he's as good as anybody on our team.
All right, so we had Brian Key from Washington on early, and I asked him, they're in a different state, right? They've got all those young first-round picks. Defining success for a team like that's different than for you. 36 and 46 a year ago. Some personnel changes. You're expecting your young guys to take leaps. So define success this year for the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah,
I think, you know, as we're establishing our identity, thought we did a pretty good job of it last year on the defensive end. And we'll continue to do that. I think now it's time for us to establish an identity offensively, Legs, you know. And in terms of how fast we're going to play and how we're going to move the ball and how we're going to cut, you know, in the half court. I think when we do that, you know, and we just continue to keep getting better, take a little step, and the Western Conference is very difficult, man. So you can't. A
lot of rungs in that ladder.
You sometimes can't define it with wins in the Western Conference because it's just so difficult. You know, you got 5 or 6 teams that can actually win an NBA championship. So for us, we just want to continue to keep defining that and just keep taking steps.
36 and 46 last year, 12th in the conference, Chauncey. To tell you a little story, I was in the hotel elevator, and ran into about 5 or 6 Blazers fans, and they were hyped about being at this game tonight and talking about the season. They named all the guys on your roster, and I just got the general sense that the expectations have really risen in the City of Roses. And what does it look like? What does it feel like now?
Well, it feels great, and obviously we have some incredible fans, and we've gone through a lot of pain, you know, in the last 4 years, man. So once last year we started getting a little better, showing that we was taking some steps, I think our fans are just excited and they're ready for that, you know. But so are our players, and so are us, the coaches.
Getting back to Young and, you know, that pick and getting him where you did, and the first thing that I think stood out to me right off the bat was he absolutely likes physical contact. You don't see a lot of 20-year-old foreign-born players come in to the league, first of all, built like he is, and also that seek out contact.
Yeah, he's looking for it. He's looking for it. He understands that there's always going to be a collision. He wants to be the first one to it. And that's rare for a young guy. It really is. He's looking for that. And he's just going to continue to get better and better, you know, in terms of him just, you know, this thing is going so fast for him right there, right now. You know, he's working on his English. So anything that we say, it's like it takes him a while to kind of process, you know. So there's just so many levels that he'll get better in, and he'll do it in a very, very short amount of time.
I can remember Greg Popovich telling me if Ginobili didn't get enough minutes, he had an entire country mad at him. So I'm just throwing it out there with Yang Hansen. I mean,
I hear you. I hear you.
You know what you might want to do with him, Potter? You might want to stick him in the film room, put on some old video of Arvydas Sabonis.
Hey.
Right? You're talking about one of the best passing big men of all time, particularly from that top of the key area. He already had a couple of looks in this first half that kind of reminded you of that, the way Sabonis used to pass the ball.
Yeah, he can do that, and he, you know, one thing about it, he takes a lot of pride in it. You know, he takes a lot of pride in making plays for the rest of the guys, and you just love. Everybody likes to play with a guy like that.
Chauncey, I want to ask you a question, and we saw this in the NBA Finals with Indiana and OKC. There seems to be a rising of full court, or at least three-quarter court pressure, where guys are picking up and teams are trying to win the margins a little bit more. Is that a style that can be ubiquitous throughout the league? Is it something that you guys look at in terms of cranking up and maybe going 9 guys, 8 guys deep during the course of a game?
Well, we don't crank up right there. We were the first ones doing that. We were the first ones picking up full court, guarding everybody, scrapping, running all over the place. So, like, that was the only way we can really compete in the game, to try to pick it up like that. So we'll continue to be like that the entire time because we have to, you know. And why would you be young and not like play fast and pick up, rotate guys in? You might as well, you know. So we'll continue to play that way, and we try to make people very uncomfortable. You know, it's just what we enjoy.
You know what I'm curious about with you, man? So how are you better and more comfortable now?
Yeah.
Haven't been there a while. Like, you know, each year, obviously, you add to. What have you learned the most and how you've adapted and changed as a coach?
Yeah, man, so many things. I've been so many different renditions of this thing for me in the last 4 years, Legs. But I would say a couple of the main things. One is just my patience. You know, my patience. I've always been a pretty patient person, but this has challenged my patience a lot. You know, going through kind of a rebuild. But that's gotten a lot better, you know, and just understanding how to call the game has slowed down for me.
When you first took over, Dame was still on the team. Feels like ages ago.
No, that's right. That's right.
Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. Thanks a lot for joining us, man. You were good at this TV thing, bro.
Oh, come on, man.
Nice, man. Yeah, man. Legs. Feel like we're doing another studio hit right here.
here on ESPN with Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks taking on the Spurs at 4 Eastern time. Then on ESPN 2, the Hornets and Sixers tip off at 6:30, followed by Lakers, Pelicans. The Grizzlies and Trailblazers cap our day 3 coverage. Meanwhile, it is down to a 9-point game. And a chance to make it 7 now. Armstrong with great hands. Warriors have outscored the Blazers 21-9 in the quarter. Mobley underneath. Good defense by Hansen, forcing the miss. Sissoko makes the play call. Hansen banks it home. Yeah, he got the cash app. The bank might be closed. He's got 6.
Vegas ATMs are 24/7. I told you that.
You're right. You're right.
Hey, I went like this. I pointed right when he let that thing go because it was right in front of me. I was like, that's off. And it was off right, but in the right kind of way for him. He'll take it.
Sissoko out top around the Hansen screen. They play pick and pop. He has quickly become the people's choice here. He has a couple of sections worth of fans, folks, right behind the Blazers bench, cheering his every move.
If he was smart, he would have tried to bank that one too. That way you look like you thought you meant it on the first one.
Here's Rowe out top. Chase action, rejects the screen, got downhill for the lay. Nice move, and the Warriors inching closer, making it a 7-point game. Rowe with 10 points on 4 of 4 from the field. Hansen fouled. We'll get a couple of shots. Here's the bank.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be able to extend this out there, but there's no question. He did not shoot that one very well, but a fortuitous bounce. I never complained. I don't recall actually banking a 3-pointer in the game. I'm
Really?
sure I did. I mean,
You had to.
other than like a last-minute heave, I don't recall shooting on that off that banked in. I mean, I definitely hit the backboard first, but I don't recall them going in, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to get the luck of the bounce and the kiss that he just got.
Hansen with 7 points on 2 of 3. You know, he had an interesting quote at the draft on his life interest. He said, quote, sometimes sleep. He says, sometimes I like to play PlayStation 5. I like to eat. Chauncey said, yeah, he's been taught the right way. One more look at this play. Hansen whistled for the foul. Mobley drawing the contact.
Yeah, there's some contact there in the air, but I mean, Young went up vertical pretty well. But when you come down with your arm like that, even if you get mostly ball, you're more likely to get a call than not.
It was a long-sought pick, actually, Hansen. Portland traded the rights to Cedric Howard to Memphis to acquire him. You talk about the popularity of this game in China. I can remember years ago there was a game featuring Yao Ming and Yi Jianlai between Washington and Houston at the time, Lakes. The ratings were the equivalent of the Super Bowl in China.
Well, I think at one point, Yao Ming's jersey was the #1 seller worldwide. You know what the next 7 were? What? The rest of the rotation for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Everybody watching those games, that's the impact that he has, and certainly Young trying to make his mark in this league.
3-ball long, rebounded by Caleb Love. They've had a 2-for-1 opportunity if they choose. Rupert tries to make one more to nobody. Sissoko wasn't in the neighborhood, and it's going to come back the other way. Warriors basketball down 11. And here's that full court pressure from Love. Chauncey Billups said this is the way that the Blazers played all year. It was interesting to hear him say that, and that they'll continue to apply a lot of ball pressure.
And Chauncey was such a great two-way guard. He took this end of the floor very seriously in ball pressure, and he was a big guard that could switch on to 2s pretty easily.
Vincent's 3 no good. Hansen with the board. Got to move quickly. Rupert, the lob. 2 guys went for it. Book. got it to go at the buzzer. It'll count. And by rule, they will review the bucket to see if it counts, because it went through the rim as the buzzer went off. There's a look at it. And Book Knight on the cleanup. Looks like he got it off in time. Definitely did. Halftime coming up.
Cut their deficit to 13 at halftime. Someone who has to like that second quarter as compared to the first is Golden State General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. Mike, what'd you like about the second quarter?
It was better than the first. We find a way to put the ball in the basket there a little bit. Got up to a slow start, but these guys are playing hard. They're competing. I mean, both sides are, but I thought we did some good stuff defensively and got ourselves back in the game.
Some say that you guys have had a pretty quiet offseason. How would you describe it?
Yeah, so far. We've got ways to go here. I consider the offseason kind of from the time the season ends all the way to training camp. So we'll give ourselves that buffer to add to our roster. And obviously we've got some guys, some restricted free agent. We've got an unrestricted free agent. We've got some guys we've got to figure out. But we've got the whole summer to do it.
Given the fact that you're kind of in a holding pattern at the moment, when you guys had your playoff exit, when you and Steve looked at the roster, what was a need you guys felt like maybe you should address?
Yeah, I mean, I think we learned a lot about the team this past year, especially since we added Jimmy. I feel like we have a group going forward that's going to be pretty good, but what do we need to add? And I think from that standpoint, we want to look in the front court to add some shooting. We want to add in the back court some defense. I think offensively, guys that can shoot past dribbles. So there's tons of needs, but I think we've zeroed in on some areas that we can address, and as the summer unfolds, we'll continue to try to do that.
In adding Jimmy at the trade deadline, just how would you evaluate and assess what he was able to provide for you guys?
Yeah, I think he provided a boost for us both on the court and just emotionally, spiritually. He added to our compete level. He added to our confidence. And, I think Jimmy was coming from a place where he was excited to be out there and to play. And then from our end, we needed a guy like him. And so everybody sort of bought in. We made a hard charge there at the end, and we gave ourselves a chance. Obviously, we came up a little short with Steph getting hurt, but I think we feel good with where we ended things, and we got to jump off from here.
I know that once the trade happened, there was a point where Kerr didn't love the Jonathan Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green minutes. But when Steph did get hurt, Kuminga stepped up and played great in that Minnesota series. What did you appreciate about the way Kuminga handled himself in that moment?
Yeah, you know what? It was a tricky situation when Jimmy arrived. Jonathan was out. You know, had a sprained ankle, missed a bunch of time. So as everybody was getting acclimated with Jimmy, JK wasn't in the lineup. And then he had to come back, and we had this great run, and he had to sort of figure it out. And I think it was a little challenging for him, for the team, but when Steph went down, he stepped up, and that was admirable from JK's standpoint. It's a big reason why I want to bring him back.
How would you describe the impact of losing Kayvon Looney?
Lou's been, you know, he's been in the organization for 10 years, so it's going to be a little odd, not only not have him on the court, but in the locker room, around the team. He's just a tremendous winner, leader, professional, and so we're really going to miss him, but, you know, happy for him for his next step in his career, and as I told him, he'll always be a Warrior.
You added Alex Tui and Will Richard in the second round. What led you guys to drafting those two?
Yeah, you know, I think when you go in the second round, you know, we've identified players that we feel like can fit in and not only make the NBA, but play within our system. I think those are two guys that can play both ways. We like the way they think the game. We like the way they defend. Will can make shots. We think Alex will be able to make shots. And so just mostly two guys that are winners, competitors. Will won a national championship with Florida. Alex has competed as a professional in the Australian League, so we like those guys. We're lucky to get them in the 50s, and we think they'll be a big part of our future.
We appreciate the time, Mike. Thank you so much, and best of luck this upcoming season.
Appreciate it.
We've got second half action between the Warriors and Trailblazers when we come back from Summer League here in Las Vegas.
2K26 Summer League from Thomas & Mack Center in the desert. Las Vegas, Nevada, day 2 of this Summer League. Mark Jones courtside along with Tim Legler, Katie George. Portland taking on the Golden State Warriors after Portland took a huge lead. Saw the Warriors rally towards the end of the half. We're joined now by Portland Blazers center Donovan Clingan. Donovan, thanks a lot for joining us, and thinking about your rookie season that just concluded, what was the biggest adjustment that you feel you had to make early in the season?
I feel like number one for me was the pace of play and, how fast the game was. These are all high level athletes flying around the court, moving at a high level. And I feel like coming from college to the NBA, that was one of the biggest things is, being able to change floors at, fast pace, fast speed, and being able to sustain it for a long time. And, I feel like that was one of the biggest adjustments for me coming into the NBA.
So Donovan, along those lines, talk about the progress of your team throughout the season. I just was so impressed with the way you guys played the last couple months of the year. Where did you see the biggest growth as a team?
I feel like we really started to, connect and really just started to find out, really each other's games and how to play well together. And really we locked in on the defensive end. We really bought in defensively, which, carried over to the offensive end. And, if we build up on the defensive end and get stop after stop, we're gonna be hard to score against.
Donovan, speaking of defensively, can you take us back to your, if you still remember it, your welcome to the NBA moment? Trying to guard somebody? Was it any one moment, one play that you can remember?
I mean, there's definitely one welcome to the NBA moment. I remember playing in Portland against the Knicks. Cat had me one-on-one at the top of the key and, drove me right in one-handed dunk. But, that was definitely one of my welcomes to the NBA moments for sure.
And I'm sure there's going to be a moment like that for young Hansen.
Of course.
You see it.
Has a moment.
No doubt about it. We all have them. And I'm curious just to get your initial thoughts on him. This was our first look at him in person. Really impressed with his passing. It just seems like his court awareness and his mobility for a big. What do you like what you're seeing so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's very talented. I feel like, he could play all around the floor, offensively, defensively. I mean, I feel like offensively, he's got all the aspects to the game. He can step out and shoot the ball. His footwork is very, elite. He can handle, and as you can see, he can finish around the rim. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, offensively, that play right there could tell you, what he does. And, defensively, just, playing in that drop with the activity, his size is, impactful. So, obviously he's just going to continue to learn and get better. And, it's going to be fun to, play alongside him.
Donovan, what kind of expectations have you set for yourself in year 2 coming up?
Really just taking the next step defensively and, offensively, really being able to, help my team score when, needed and, back to the basket, whether that's tough shots around the rim, being able to roll out of the ball screen quicker and, stepping out behind the three-point line and knock down the shot. I've been working really hard on my shot, making sure, keeping it consistent, all summer long. And, I'm really going to go in with a lot of confidence and, show everyone I can shoot. But defensively is, being that that rim protector that we need. Obviously we have a lot of great perimeter defensive men. And so, it's important that, I protect the rim with all those guys, pressuring the ball like that.
You talk about your offense and expanding your range, the three-point shot. How many makes a day from behind the arc for you?
I mean, I'd say between, 300 to 500 a day I was putting up, this summer, and, I'm still going to keep putting them up.
Okay. I'm sitting beside a shooter. Is that enough, Tim?
Yeah, I was going to ask you one last one to compare and contrast the intensity levels of Danny Hurley and Chauncey Billups. Who's more demanding?
I mean, I feel like it's 2 different games. It's hard to compare. 2 great coaches that, have taught me a lot, and, I'm excited to play for Chauncey, man. He's a great coach, and, it's a lot of fun.
Well, continued success to you, Donovan, and thanks a lot for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
67-42 now for the Blazers, and boy, things looking good at the 5 spot for that squad.
No kidding,
right?
Yeah, when I hit Chauncey up with that question about some of the lineups he can put out there, talk about the defensive prowess of some of those guys like Timothy Kamara, Matisse Thybulle, and now you're talking about, you didn't even mention Klingon and what he can do back there as an anchor. You saw that on the national championship team.
Yeah, great roster versatility. Drew Holiday, a former all-defensive player as well, right?
And look, Chauncey wouldn't say it, and I knew he wouldn't say it when I talked about define success for your team, but man, listen, they've got to be thinking play-in to playoffs.
Yes.
Somewhere in that range, right? I mean, they weren't that far off this year, clearly improved. So for me, I think you're looking at 36 and 46. So you're talking about a 5-game lead. You're at 500. If you get north of that, now there you go. You're in the play-in category, or possibly even getting into that top 6.
Yeah. My question is, how do you replace the scoring punch? Back after this.
I'm joined by a special guest, Mark Byington, the head coach of the men's basketball program at Vanderbilt. He's watching one of his former players, Chris Magnon, play today. Did you give Chris any advice ahead of his summer league debut?
I did when he was training in Nashville, and it's amazing how nervous you get when you're sitting up as a coach. I feel like a parent. Every shot he shoots, everything he does, you feel so nervous and you feel everything with him.
What kind of player do you think Golden State or another franchise could get in Chris?
Amazing energy, amazing person. He's somebody who doesn't need the ball to be successful. He plays so hard. He's so passionate. You can see it out there right now. He's chasing down everything, and he's a joy to coach. Only coached him 1 year, and my biggest thing, I wish I had him one more year because it'd been better for us and better for him, I think.
He had a great game out of the California Classic. He feels like somebody that does the dirty work, that doesn't necessarily show up in the box score. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's definitely him. And a lot of times in the NBA, you already have the star player. And, of course, Golden State already has a couple of those. And sometimes you got to find a niche of somebody that's starred in their role, and he can do that.
What made you most proud? I know that at the beginning of last college basketball season, you guys were picked to finish last in the SEC. You play your way into the NCAA tournament. How are things going down in Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place. I mean, the star is rising really in every sport. Football did a great job. Women's basketball, baseball, and right now just to be a part of Vanderbilt, what's going on in athletics is special, and I think we'll have a really good team this year. We're in a tough conference, but we like that challenge.
We appreciate the time, Mark. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Katie.
Byington, head coach of Vanderbilt Commodores. Three comes up short. Here's Caleb Love. What do you make of Love's night so far? From the field, he's got 6 of 12, total of 15 points.
Yeah, played very well. Came out right off the bat, hit his first 2, looked very comfortable. And yeah, he's got a confidence level, I think, that stands out amongst some of these guys that are trying to make rosters and trying to get time. He's got a little bit of a different feel about him with everything he accomplished in college.
Shackelford's going to bring it up against ball pressure from Canton.
And one thing Katie was talking about, and she is so true about Golden State. And I go back, I compare it to the Tim Duncan, Ginobili Parker, San Antonio run, where they constantly reinvented their supporting cast. And Golden State has done that in the Steph Curry era. So if somebody's going to find a role player, plug them into a lane, and get the most out of them, Golden State Warriors have a pretty good track record of being able to do that around this elite offensive player, and things you can do. So if you just do something well, Golden State will find value in that, and you can be an impact player in a really good team.
Warriors with the big acquisition, big trade with Jimmy Butler. And he'll get a full season with Golden State coming up. I really think Jimmy's got a lot left in the tank, too. And let's look at Brandon Pajemski courtside.
Well, and I tell you, it was a shame, really, the way their season ended, because you go back to that Minnesota series. After they won a 7-game series against the Houston Rockets, they take on Minnesota. Remember, the first game, they win it.
In Minnesota.
And Curry is off to an incredible start in that game. Ends up getting hurt in that game. They still won the game. But then, without Steph Curry, they just were not able to find enough offense against that Minnesota team.
They dusted off Jonathan Kuminga, and he was impressive.
Yeah, taken out of the rotation late in the year.
He went from DNP.
Didn't play in a critical game to close the season and had, I think, 3 DNPs in the Houston series. And then when Curry went down, they called on him, and man, did he deliver. He averaged 24 points a game in the last 4 games of that Minnesota series.
Armstrong off the ball screen, sprays it out to the wing. That's going to be a traveling violation. First man Young. Walked with it. Under 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. It's been all Portland since the opening tip. Golden State got as close as 7 at one point. That 17-footer a little bit short. Another opportunity, and that'll be a foul against the Warriors. Carton going to the free throw line. Golden State got as close as 41 to 34. Do you think that Portland is in that? Okay, there's OKC, and then there's that next group,
right?
And then you talk about maybe Portland being in that, what, 7 through 10?
Yes, definitely. I think that has to be their goal. You know, you finished the year the way you did. As I said, if you're 5 games better than last year, and they are a better team, you're at 500.
Right.
That's going to put you in that mix. And that's just a 5-game increase. I know the West is tough, and Chauncey alluded to that. And some of the teams at the top trying to catch Oklahoma City certainly improved. When you look at Denver, you look at Houston, I think both of those teams improved. I think the Clippers got better.
Right.
Still got Minnesota out there, but so there's teams you've got to try to catch. There's a lot of rungs in that ladder, as I said, but to me, that should be the goal for the Portland Trailblazers.
Let me ask you this.
That playing range.
We talked about this going to break. I mentioned the fact, how do you replace the scoring of Anthony Simons, who gave you about 22 points a game? You bring in Drew Holiday, but at this stage of his career, he's not a bucket getter like that, right?
True, but I think one thing that Chauncey Billups is counting on, based on what he saw a year ago out of Shaedon Sharpe, there is another level for him offensively that I think you're going to see this year to help make up for some of that offense you lost with Simons.
Padula making the bucket from the corner. 73-46. Portland still comfortably ahead. The catch and shoot by Tui comes out. Dulu out top off the bounce. 10 on the shot clock. Tyson with the catch and shoot 3. Laces it from deep. He's hit a bunch of those tonight. I believe that's his 3rd 3-ball. He's a perfect 3 for 3. And we're going to have a foul against Tyson.
He was 37% from out there in the G League a year ago, so you know he can shoot it, but he's shooting it at even a higher rate tonight. It looks like a guy that was better than 37%.
Sure does.
Because he gets it off pretty quick. Very confident in his range.
Boy, the Blazers really denying every single pass right out near the midcourt line. Tough bucket and 1. Count it. That was Jackson Rowe with the tough boot.
But that's nice. Takes that extra step at the end, gets the contact, and then has to go to the left hand sweeping shot to get that to go.
3:11 to go in the third quarter. Rowe at the free throw line.
Blazers have a look about them here, you know, with this team and the way they're playing and the defensive pressure they're applying and the speed they're playing with in the open floor. You might see this team do very well here. And
wouldn't be the first time they won the Summer League championship.
Yeah, be playing for something here as we get deeper into this tournament, because they've got an intensity about them and a look in their eye, and I think that's reflective of their head coach sitting right over here a few seats away from us, and they know that his eye is on them and what his expectations are, particularly how you have to compete defensively to get minutes.
Nice cut and bucket, and another wonderful delivery by young Henson. 5 points of the ball game for Carton. Working against that full court pressure, Shackelford into the front court. Whistle, and that's going to be, they call offensive foul on that? Yeah, we got a hook. Henson. Great read and a wonderful cut for the bucket. Rookie out of China with some wonderful deliveries tonight. Great vision, Tim.
We said at the top, your first thing that was going to stand out to you was the playmaking and the vision, and you've seen all of that on display as well. You know, see him directing traffic. You see him repeatedly put the ball in his hip, tell guys to cut, and he points out where he wants them to cut. So he's really at the top of the key. You see his head, his vision is always up. He's very good with his ball fakes, so none of his passes are telegraphed or tipped because he uses the ball fake to set up where he wants to go.
And he's being grabbed. Rowe was holding him like next month's rent. Whistle and a foul called. Hey, we were talking about the great passing. Here he's getting roughed up in the post. A foul is going to go against Rowe. But what about some of the great passers that this franchise has seen already? Bill Walton, Sabonis, and maybe Henson is next.
You know, and the other thing you're noticing more and more, and this is just another example of a team saying, you know what, you can't have enough size. Teams in the West are getting bigger across the board. Oklahoma City went out and got Isaiah Hartenstein. They just won a title. And the two big lineup wasn't as effective down the stretch as it was in a regular season, but still it was a difference maker. And you're seeing more and more teams in the West go get that second big, and that's exactly now what Portland has done. And he's certainly a different type of player than Klingon, but it'll be interesting to see if at times they want to play those guys together.
It's always nice to have that kind of option. If you're Chauncey Billups, Henson with the rebound. Under 2 minutes to go in the third.
I mean, the Clippers have Zubac go out and get Brook Lopez. Yeah. Denver gets Valanciunas, and they're in a dispute right now to figure out if he's going to play. He might be in Greece. But still, they went out and they got that second big. Houston goes out.
They got three
centers.
Yeah. Capella,
So you look at some of these teams making moves in the West and trying to close that gap with OKC. They're all adding another big, not just as a backup at times, to go out there and give you the two big look. Now, one of the keys to doing that, one of them has to be a versatile offensive player where they can step out on the perimeter and be comfortable.
You run some delay action?
Exactly right. Obviously, Young Hansen can do that. It's very important. One of those guys at least can do it. And both Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren are very good running DHO. Hartenstein, a really good passer from the top of the key. So to play just two traditional bigs that want to play in the paint, that's not going to work in the modern NBA. But you can play two bigs together if they complement each other's skills.
Interesting. In particular, the way it's going in the Western Conference, as you pointed out, with multiple bigs. Off the miss. Barton back to Hansen, the trailer, drives it into the paint. Nice sidestep, and couldn't connect.
He did everything right except switching it to his left hand. That would have been an easy left-handed finish. He had a tough angle to try to shoot that over the front of the rim with his right.
Hansen with the block. Into the corner, Tyson, he's 3 for 3, and that's his first miss from deep. Man, this Portland team still playing hard, despite the fact that they're up by 31. Everything Young Hansen does is being cheered by the fans behind the bench. He's got 3 blocks tonight, too. Ball's out of bounds. It'll be Warriors basketball. As Taron Armstrong comes in, here's a look at that defensive play.
Yeah, he's had a few of these tonight. This is great reaction time. So you're guarding a big on the post with his back to you, and you're able to quickly turn and get to the other side of the rim to defend a cutter. That's pretty high level mobility. And I'll tell you one thing, he is gasping for air right now. He's trying to find that second wind.
Doing everything but tugging on his shorts, hunched over. Whistle, foul, and 1. And there's a product, maybe, Tim, of that fatigue you pointed out. Hansen fouling Bernard, going to the bucket.
Yeah, because one thing I can tell you for sure, and I don't even care what they've been doing in practice, nothing is going to replicate the pace of an NBA game, even in Summer League. Yeah, he's right there. You can see right there. The only thing missing is a scuba tank right there. He's just trying to find it.
His lungs are on fire.
That's it.
People sometimes underestimate the conditioning it takes to play high-level basketball.
Well, everything you do, and in an environment like this, everything is so competitive. All these guys trying just to open the eyes of someone, so you're just constantly under duress and pressure and physical contact. It really wears on you and drains your legs.
That's the end of the third quarter. Carton with the 3-point miss. Roper leading the way for the leaders with 20 points and 7 rebounds. And Young Hansen, get to know the name, folks, especially if you're in the Pacific Northwest.
making their debuts?
I mean, I was fortunate to be put in a good situation with a great team and great teammates around me. Obviously, my first summer league, I really struggled shooting the ball. And so what I would tell them is it's not necessarily if you make or miss shots, but it's things that can, help the team win, especially for our team when we got a bunch of veterans, guys who are going to score. It's the little things that you can provide that they look for, especially like guys competing for E10s or two-ways, stuff like that, and just trying to get on the roster. It's really about the little things. It's not so much about, scoring.
I had no idea that you led the NBA in off-season surgeries. You had your wrist done, and then you had a core muscle attended to. Were you dealing with those two things in the playoffs?
I mean, the core thing happened December 27th against the Clippers, and so I missed, I think, 3 or 4 weeks because of it. And then the wrist thing happened when I actually came back from my back injury that I missed like 2 or 3 games from. Yeah, I mean, just played through them. Never going to use it as an excuse for, good or bad performances. But yeah, I just figured, since I had to get one of them done, I might as well get both, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And, I'll be ready to go.
When you think back to the playoff run that you guys were able to make, how would you describe that experience?
Exciting. Really looking forward to what we can do. I really take it back to, when we traded for Jimmy, and you look at our record from there on out, and what that was, it felt that we had to, play every game as if it was a playoff game, after we got him, just to get in the playoffs. And if we can have a similar record and a similar start to when he got here, we feel like we can be a top 4 seed in the West. And it allows us to, down the stretch, be able to rest our older guys, let the younger guys get some more experience. And so it's just a win-win for everybody. And I think that's kind of what, everybody sees.
To that point, I feel like when Jimmy was traded to you guys, it was kind of like baptism by fire, as you described, to get into the winning record. Now having this core group back, how exciting is that to build that continuity through the offseason and have it for an entire season?
I think it's huge. I mean, with anything in life, the more time you spend around something or with whomever, you get acclimated and accustomed and build the relationship and confidence amongst each other. And, I thought we found some of that. Obviously, it's never going to be whole and complete, and so you spend a lot of time with each other. But, I'm glad, our front office is keeping, them 3 obviously together, and then, having our young guys be a part of it as well. So for us young guys, we're just, we know they only got so much time left. It's like avoiding the inevitable. So we're just trying to, do what we can to help win.
I know part of your offseason has been about getting healthy, but when you think about your game in this upcoming season, where do you want to take a step in your play?
I think there's a few things. I think, first and foremost, I was blessed to have 12 playoff games. And in the playoffs, it's really magnified, and it really shows and highlights your weaknesses for every player. And so to be able to play 12 games and have that experience, it showed me I need to, be able to create my own shot, be able to get a bucket whenever that may come. And to have a third, reliant scorer behind Steph and Jimmy, I think it's important. And like everything, all good teams need role players to play well.
I know you've been learning from Steph since you were drafted by the Warriors, but what have you learned from Jimmy in your short time with him?
Just, his mentality is similar to Steph, but it's different in how they show it. He is always a big confidence guy. He doesn't really show too much emotion unless it's called for him, talking about Steph. But Jimmy, he likes to show his emotion, but he also has a composure about him. He knows he's one of the best players out there, and he likes to breed confidence through his role players, and that was evident since he got here. And so just, he may not know it, but just the impact he has on us role players, trying to make that step being like him and Steph, helps us a lot.
I know he's not your teammate, but this is our first time getting to see young Hansen. Just what are your early impressions of his play?
Yeah, this is my second time seeing him. I think he played in the Cali Classic last year for Team China. So I got to see him play a couple games against, I think, Sacramento and maybe Charlotte. But yeah, he's good. Obviously, like any young player, you're going to have things like growing pains that you got to work through. But I think the situation he's in, he's got Donovan Clingan, who's kind of a similar big to him. Yeah, I mean, you can see the IQ of the game, the passing, all that kind of stuff is there. And then, over time, he'll fine-tune the rest.
We appreciate the time, Brandon. Thank you so much, and best of luck this upcoming season.
I appreciate that.
Mark.
All right, great to see Brandon Podziemski courtside, and interesting to hear him, Tim, talk about being able to take take that next step and develop his game to the point where he can get his own shot? That's going to be a big piece of the puzzle for Golden State in terms of another bucket getter, right?
I love that, and I think he's spot on. I think that's where it's got to come from. And I think one thing that stands out about him, he's a winning player. He comes up with 50-50 balls. He's always willing to slide over defensively and make a play for a teammate, draw charges.
Great rebounder.
Very good rebounder for his size and his position. So that really is the next level. Being able to create some offense that he can't currently. And look, I'm always going to say this about any guard in the league. Continuing to extend your range and improve your efficiency from the three-point line. So I really like watching him play because he seems like he's got his fingerprints on a lot of winning that goes on in Golden State. And it's nice to see him identify the areas he wants to work on.
Winning player. And if you want to know where to find him, you can find him at Chase Center during a lot of the Golden State Valkyries games. Folks, he is their full-time, not part-time, full-time courtside hype man. I mean, he hypes up one of the great stories in the WNBA this year. That's right. Pods, back after this. As well as the ESPN app. There's a look at the menu. Cleveland, Milwaukee at 3:30. OKC, Indiana, Sacramento, Chicago, Minnesota against Denver at 10 p.m. Eastern time. On the break, Richard got the nice layup and one. This is day 2 of NBA Summer League. Saw Cooper Flag last night. Bronny James. Dylan Harper still to make his debut. We're anticipating seeing him tomorrow with the San Antonio Spurs.
Nice debut for Trey Johnson in our first game tonight as well.
He looked very comfortable. Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay that end. Portland basketball. Yeah, Trey Johnson had 18 points in 21 minutes, as efficient as it comes, and McNeely was pretty good too. 7 of 16 from the field for the Hornets. What are you expecting out of Cooper Flag in his next run? Went 5 of 21. We called it last night.
He called it the worst game he's ever played. I don't know, I don't know if I'd go that far, but he obviously really struggled shooting the basketball and finishing it off. Did a lot of nice things in that game. I think he's just obviously looking to have a much bigger scoring game, shoot the ball better, be more efficient from the field, maybe not force the issue quite as much as he was in trying to make that great first impression as a #1 pick. You almost understand that mentality, but he was taken in some tough spots and took some very difficult contested shots off the dribble. So I'd like to see him let the game come to him a little bit more offensively, while showing you know, continuing to show the versatility and just have a better, more efficient night as a scorer.
Well, there's more to basketball than just getting buckets, but what you make of him at the defensive end, and what do you expect in terms of any potential improvement in that end of the floor?
Yeah, I think defensively he's going to be an impact guy right away because he's just rangy and he's got great feet.
Right.
And the most important part, Jonesy, about him, and it has stood out since he first burst onto the scene at the AAU level at probably 14, 15 years old. He just has a tremendous amount of want to on that end. It matters to him a lot. Probably even more than the offensive end. So I was impressed with his defense. I was probably most impressed with his ball handling up the floor against that level of pressure, and only had one turnover, which came late in the game. I mean, he was hounded up the floor the entire night.
Hey, listen, if San Antonio blitzes him on the opening tip like the Lakers did,
no doubt. And we, of course, talked about a little bit some of the things, I think, with his release and the way the ball comes off his hand from deep. That's not going to fix itself overnight. But I think the one thing to look for in his second game is just letting the game come to him a little bit more offensively in terms of scoring opportunities. And when you do that, it's amazing how things will loosen up for you anyway.
That'll be on ESPN tomorrow afternoon. Warriors with the bucket for Madsden. Here's Caleb Love around the Hansen screen. Back over to Rupert. Caleb Love with a logo 3, and it's wet.
I mean, he just got a nice game, right? I mean, he just looks so comfortable.
Looks like an NBA player already.
Absolutely.
Shackelford from deep. And here's Book Knight. Book pushing the pace and whistling a foul. Young Hansen not afraid to get in the mix.
Noticed it pretty early, and I asked Chauncey about it. He said he seeks it out.
Yeah.
He mixes it up a little bit. He's going to find himself in some, I think, some skirmishes early on.
Well, he's got 6 fouls. You're allowed 10 in Summer League play, and there's a look at the contact. Well, FIBA basketball can be a little rough. He's used to it. Timeout. Back after this.
NBA 2K26 Summer League is proudly sponsored by NBA 2K26. Rated E for everyone.
Call on the floor. And we're going to get the announcement in just a moment here. A lot of contact between Shackelford and young Hansen. Looked like they were doing an Oklahoma drill in football.
I don't know. That looked to me like Shackelford was the first one to deliver the first blow. He saw Young coming at him and figured, I can slow this guy down somehow. The second blow, the counter punch, was delivered by Young, but I think the first one, Shackelford, but they're having a very difficult time sorting this out.
You're not supposed to be able to redirect, quote unquote, or push somebody off their line. So we'll see with 5:32 to go.
The challenge is unsuccessful. Portland will shoot 1 for a take foul and retain possession side out with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Unsuccessful challenge by the Warriors. Henson will get a breather.
And by the way, quietly, Brian Rupert is about to drop his 23rd point here if he can make this free throw. We said it in the beginning of the game. He just had one thing on his mind.
Yeah.
Every time he got his hands on the ball on the defensive end of the floor, that thing was going to be full throttle to the other end.
10 of 10 from the foul line.
9 boards to go with it.
Yeah. Now 11 of 11. It's interesting to hear Chauncey Billups talk about working through some of the communication issues, understanding Chinese or understanding English, depending on your perspective. Basketball is the international language, though, Legs, you know that. A lot of ways to talk on the court and get your point across. It'll come back to the Blazers. The feeling that young Henson's night is over.
I don't know. I think if he could just right now master cut, move, and my bad. Those are the 3 big ones you need to know early.
That's it. That's it. And mass substitutions now. Meanwhile, Caleb Love is going to look at a 7 of 16 from the field tonight. Total of 18 points. In his NBA debut here at Summer League. Young man out of Arizona. Played all 73 games and led the Wildcats in scoring each of the last 2 seasons and putting in a good night at the defensive end of the court, too. Tyson coming back into the game. That's the scoring punch component for Portland. With just under 5 minutes to go. The Blazers on the cusp of winning their first game of Summer League. Each team guaranteed 5 games. Total of almost 80 games over the next 10 days. On the turnover, it's Tyson. I'll tell you what, how tough is it coming in cold off the bench and hitting a shot like this if you're Kamwa?
Yeah, listen, really tough, particularly when you're already, pressing. You want it to happen so badly. You've been sitting there the entire game. You come in, your first time you touch it, you lace a 3.
Shackelford off the mark. And Tyson will bring it across for Portland. McCoy on the dribble handoff. Tyson out top. Man, knocks down another one. That is Tyson's 4th 3 of the night.
He's snapping the net on each one of them, too.
I think maybe a heat check might be in order for Tyson here. Nice backdoor cut. Extra pass to the corner. Tyson on the baseline. Great 2-man game and the bucket by Andrew Carr out of Kentucky.
Cameron Tyson really playing well here tonight. Not only shooting the basketball, great job there putting it down, and then with the late find along the baseline.
Alex Tui lacing the 3. Tui, the 52nd pick in the draft. Mentioned earlier, he's at one point coached by Andrew Bogut. Played for him in the Australian League. Well, the Emirates NBA Cup returns to Las Vegas December 13th and 16th. Get access to experience all the action live with NBA Experiences. Visit NBAevents.com to purchase tickets and experiences. Boy, the NBA Cup, Emirates Cup entering its 3rd year. I love the idea of it. First 2 years have worked incredibly well, and great drama. Milwaukee winning it last year, the Lakers winning it the previous season?
I thought it was a great idea from the beginning. You know, I was curious and a little bit skeptical of what the buy-in effect would be of the players, putting the emphasis on those games, but you saw it immediately. It had a different feel to it. So I think it's even surpassed the league's expectations.
I would agree.
I think it's something that the players are really bought into, man, and they want to compete for that.
They had the drawings for the groups a couple of days ago. Mobley with a nice spin move inside. And that's going to be a foul underneath after the shot. The NBA Emirates Cup group in the West. Thunder, Timberwolves, Kings. Man, is there a group of death here?
One of these two. It's either B or C.
I don't know.
I might go C, man.
Really? Well, the West overall is a conference. Any way you slice it up, there's going to be a lot of tough teams.
Put that back up there again. Come on, we're trying to flush this out. I don't have that kind of photographic memory. I got to see it again in front of me.
Yeah.
You got Houston, Denver, Golden State.
You got to have it going on those.
I mean, these are two kind of X factors to me. Blazers and Spurs, both, I think, much improved.
Wow, and Rockets are going to be a
And you
threat.
know what Houston did? Denver went out and got better. I mean, look at B.
Yeah, I would say you're right. I think C is probably the group of death there.
I mean, the top of A, OKC, Minnesota. I mean, that's the two best teams in the Western Conference a year ago, played in the conference finals.
And what we've seen the first 2 years of this is that you got to be firing on all cylinders on those Tuesday and Friday nights.
Definitely.
You can have a great overall record at the end of
it,
it, but not even come close to making it, right?
Absolutely. And those games get to you really quickly and early in the season.
Boy, missing the first of 2 free throws. Under 2.5 minutes to go. Technical foul was called on Mobley. And Coach Wilson. So Blazers basketball. Zula around the ball screen. That three way off the mark by Conway.
All right, so partner, your overall first impressions of Jan Hansen?
Love him. Love him. Like I mentioned, saw him last year in the California Classic in Sacramento, but his game offensively has been very much refined since that point, and he was only 19. And now he looks legit. And the thing that really jumps off the page is his passing ability. When he's the trailer on a break or in that delay action they run, to be able to, you know, decipher defenses and make dimes inside for layups, passes.
Yeah, you're right, and it's by design. When he's trailing the play, the one thing I liked about him, when that ball was coming to him from one wing or the other, his ability to catch it, turn, and immediately get the ball to the other side in a dribble handoff, or immediately turn his head, look to that side, and start directing traffic to get cutters. That type of communication and understanding of spacing just promotes great player movement, which is so difficult to defend in this league. So, and I actually thought he was had more of an impact defensively than I expected with some of the reaction time that he had at the rim as well. So overall, I think Portland's got to be very happy with what they've seen tonight. And he's got to be happy that he played well in front of such a supportive crowd.
Right. Tui missing that three ball. Portland running it back the other way. Andrew Carr pulls it out, and they finish off with another fast break layup. 80 seconds to play. Mobley with a tough pass inside. It'll stay Golden State basketball. Hey, our next WNBA game is tomorrow afternoon on ABC and the ESPN app. Nafisa Collier leads the Lynx against Angel Reese. and the Chicago Sky. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and Angel Reese's stats have been through the roof of late, man. And Lisa Collier in Minnesota, man, #1 team in the W, balling right now.
All right, so as we wind down here in our second game, let's go back to where we started earlier with the question that you and I couldn't answer. Did Dylan Brooks say spa or bar, and which one are you headed to? Because I know my answer.
I'm gonna put some cucumbers and put some moisturizer on my face and do the spa. You can hit the other place.
Oh, I'm gonna have a cucumber.
Hey, I can.
All right, but it's gonna be at the bottom of a glass in a mojito, I think.
Hey, who says we can't do both?
That's right. That's right.
Petula from deep for 3. And this one's looking, as I like to say, like 3 p.m. at LA Fitness. Bernard on the drive. Off the mark, 20 seconds to go. And that'll pretty much do it. Dula will have a chance to dribble out the clock. Rupert will lead the way for the Blazers with 23 points and 9 rebounds. Caleb Love out of Arizona, 18 and 6 on the night. Young Hansen with 10, 4, and 5 as well.